Studies reveal that 72% of Christians are open to participating in Halloween, but may choose to adapt how they celebrate it, while 28% avoid it altogether, often due to its association with the occult or dark themes. Every year, millions celebrate Halloween, a night of costumes, sweets, and spooky fun. But what if I told you that Halloween holds a dark history, a story that predates our modern traditions and goes deep into ancient beliefs? Halloween didn't start as a night for trick-or-treating. Its roots trace back to pagan rituals and centuries-old customs meant to bridge the living and the dead. In this video, we'll uncover how Halloween evolved, the surprising ways it intersects with Christian traditions, and what the Bible reveals about this mysterious holiday. Let's dive into Halloween's dark secret. Imagine a night so dark, so mysterious, that people believed it was the only time when the world of the living and the world of spirits would collide. This is Halloween. But where did it really come from? Long before pumpkins, costumes, and candy, Halloween was something far more intense, something called Samhain. Picture this. It's October 31st, and the ancient Celts are gathered under the chilling autumn sky. The harvest is over, and winter's deadly chill is about to set in. But this wasn't just a seasonal change. For the Celts, it was a sign that the walls between worlds were crumbling. They believed that on this night, the dead could roam freely, returning to visit or haunt their former homes. And while some spirits were gentle, others were dark, searching for a way back to the world of the living. To protect themselves, they would gather around massive bonfires, flames leaping into the night, casting flickering shadows across the crowd. This fire wasn't for warmth, it was a shield, a mystical force to purify the land and drive away the dark spirits lurking at the edge of the night. They'd throw in sacrifices, crops, sometimes even animals, to their gods, hoping it would appease whatever forces controlled the dark. But even that wasn't enough. To avoid being recognized by the spirits, people would disguise themselves, wearing masks and animal skins. Imagine it. Ancient villagers, cloaked and masked, blending into the night to fool the spirits. They believed that if they could pass as something otherworldly, the spirits would leave them alone. Sound familiar? These disguises became the costumes we wear today, though now it's just for fun. Back then, it was about survival. But Samhain wasn't just about hiding from the dead. It was a rare chance to look into the future. The Celts saw this night as a gateway, a time to see beyond the veil. They would cast stones, read animal bones, and interpret natural signs to predict who would live through the winter or who would marry. Imagine the tension. People trying to grasp a glimpse of their future in the shadows of firelight, desperate to know their fate. And as the night wore on, they'd leave food and offerings at their doors, believing that by feeding the spirits, they could buy their protection. Some families even set extra places at the table, inviting the spirits of their loved ones in as guests for one night only. The line between life and death was never so thin, so uncertain as on this night. Over centuries, Samhain's traditions endured, shifting and blending until they became Halloween, carrying forward the legacy of fire, spirits, and ancient mysteries. So, as you carve your jack-o'-lanterns or don a costume, remember, you're partaking in something ancient and haunting. You're stepping into a tradition that began with bonfires and shadows, spirits and secrets. A reminder that on Halloween, the living and the dead may be closer than we think. We begin with a warning that dates back thousands of years. Throughout Scripture, the Bible repeatedly cautions against the occult, witchcraft, sorcery, communicating with the dead. These weren't just superstitions, they were powerful forces God's people were told to avoid at all costs. In Deuteronomy 18:10-12, God warns, "Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft. For anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord." But Halloween, with its roots in the ancient festival of Samhain, features the very themes the Bible warns against: spirits of the dead, witches, and forces beyond the natural world. What's more, this festival was designed to summon and even appease spirits, believing that on October 31st, the veil between the worlds was at its thinnest. So, what are we really tapping into on Halloween night? The Bible also speaks about a constant struggle, light versus darkness, good versus evil. God represents the light. He is the source of truth and purity. And yet Halloween embraces darkness, not just in theme, but in essence. Look at the imagery that defines it: haunted houses, ghostly shadows, eerie costumes. It's a night built on the idea of darkness conquering the light, if only for one night. In John 3:19, Jesus says, "Light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil." The Bible calls believers to walk as children of light, Ephesians 5:8. So what does it mean for Christians to celebrate a day that glorifies fear, darkness, and even death? Are we, without realizing it, getting too close to the shadows God tells us to flee? There's another layer to Halloween that goes beyond costumes and decorations: fear. Halloween thrives on fear. It's practically its fuel. But while we might treat fear as something entertaining, the Bible warns us about letting fear control or deceive us. 1 John 4:18 says, "Perfect love casts out fear." Yet Halloween promotes an obsession with horror, the unknown, and the very forces that Scripture calls us to stand against. And then there's the fascination with the supernatural: ghosts, demons, and otherworldly beings. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that our real battle isn't against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil. Halloween's imagery, demons, witches, restless spirits, aren't just innocent decorations. They're symbols of the forces at work in a spiritual realm. Could Halloween be blurring the lines between harmless fun and spiritual danger? Now here's where things get even more complicated. Christians are divided. Some say Halloween is innocent, a night for kids to dress up, laugh, and collect candy. But others say Halloween opens doors we can't close, unknowingly drawing us closer to the occult. Imagine celebrating a holiday that, no matter how playful it seems today, originated in rituals to ward off spirits and summon the dead. To some, that might sound like harmless fun. To others, it sounds like an invitation to forces the Bible warns us about. Could celebrating Halloween, even if playfully, be like playing with spiritual fire? As Christians, we're called to be in the world, but not of it, John 17:14-16. So how can we navigate Halloween in a way that doesn't compromise our faith? Some choose to celebrate by transforming Halloween into a chance to shine light into the darkness. For instance, instead of ghostly costumes, some opt for characters that uplift or celebrate the good. Churches host gatherings that are bright, positive, and focused on family, fun, rather than fear. For others, Halloween becomes a chance to reach out to neighbors, to the community, offering kindness, joy, and even resources that speak to the gospel. Jesus said, "We're a city on a hill that can't be hidden." So what if Halloween is an opportunity to let our light shine in the darkest night of the year? As the final days of October roll in, millions embrace Halloween, celebrating a holiday draped in darkness and eerie delight. But while people prepare costumes and stock up on candy, few question what really lies beneath this holiday's playful mask. Halloween has long been more than just costumes and treats. It's a night with shadows that run far deeper than most realize. The truth is, Halloween carries a disturbing legacy of fear and superstition that cannot be ignored. The 1980s and 1990s witnessed a period known as the Satanic Panic, where many believed Halloween was a time for occultists to roam freely, committing unspeakable acts. During this era, neighborhoods were gripped by stories of children abducted by cults under the cover of Halloween night. Allegations surfaced, accusing daycare centers of harboring sinister secrets. Stories of ritual abuse and sacrifices horrified communities. In 1991, a group of teenagers in North Carolina was arrested for the brutal murder of a peer, claiming it was part of a satanic ritual. Similarly, in California in 1992, two men faced chilling murder charges after a woman was found dead. They claimed they were participating in an occult rite. While not all cases are directly tied to Halloween night, these tragedies highlight a dangerous undercurrent, a blurring of lines where fear and darkness overshadow innocence, making Halloween a magnet for troubling behavior. Today, Halloween myths continue to fuel paranoia. Each year, social media fills with rumors of planned sacrifices and sinister plots, stories that prompt police departments across the country to issue statements of reassurance. But the persistent anxieties remain, driven by something deeper: society's fascination with danger and chaos, wrapped up in Halloween's gleeful embrace of fear. So, what are we really celebrating? For all the masks and candy, Halloween still teeters on the edge of darkness. Beneath the costumes and haunted houses lies a holiday rooted in a fascination with fear. It invites us to embrace things better left alone, tempting our curiosity toward darkness. This Halloween, let's think twice about what we're celebrating. Instead of simply dismissing Halloween's dark history as myths and fun, consider its real legacy, one of fear, misguided beliefs, and a willingness to glorify the very things that seek to undermine peace and innocence. Maybe it's time we re-evaluate whether this night of tricks and treats truly deserves a place in our lives.